If you're running an e-com brand and you're using Klaviyo, this video is going to change the way you look at your account, because in the next few minutes I'm going to walk you through the exact few steps I use on every single Klaviyo account before onboarding a new client, and I'm going to show you live how to find the hidden revenue that is just sitting there and going to waste. I've now audited over 100 e-com brands, and every single time without fail we find money that the brand didn't know they were leaving on the table. We are talking brands going from 10k a month all the way up to 400k a month, purely from fixing what's already in their Klaviyo account. So in this video I'm going to go over the exact KPIs I check first, how to audit your flows, campaign analysis, your sign-up form, your deliverability, and I'm also giving away the exact wireframe doc I use to audit Klaviyo accounts, so you know exactly where to improve on. So let's begin. So this is going to be a live audit on a brand we've been working on for a month now, and we have been able to improve their email marketing funnel by making a few changes. We are still implementing a lot of changes ourselves, and hopefully add another 20 to 30k revenue in their email funnel. So right now we're seeing the results of the month of January, where we have been able to pull around 20 to 100k pounds, which is roughly around 26% of the total revenue. And I've also made an audit wireframe where you can directly see what revenue, what's the ideal benchmark, and what compared to that, what benchmark your store is pulling, so that it's a good comparison and you have every single detail in one doc, so that it's easier for you to make a strategy and understand what you guys can work on. I'll be linking the doc in the description so you guys can access it for free. Okay. So first, total store revenue is around this much, so I'm just gonna copy this and paste it here. And attributed email revenue should be around 20 to 30%. So across all our client base, our average attributed revenue from emails come between 20 to 30%, and sometimes we even exceed above 35. Since we just started working with this brand, we have been able to generate 26% of the total revenue. So I am just going to note that down, 26% as of right now. A general rule of thumb for understanding how your campaigns and flows are performing individually is you want the campaigns to pull 50% of the revenue and the flows to pull another 50%. Now, of course, it's not possible to exactly be at 50-50, but your goal is to come as close to it. So the channel that is the furthest away from that 50% ratio is the channel that you should put more focus in. That means that channel has more potential to grow. So for example, campaigns here are pulling 62% of the revenue and flows here are pulling 37% of the revenue. So that means that there are more potentials to make more revenue out of the flows. So I'm just going to quickly note this down. 62% is from campaigns, and from flows it's 37%. So this gives me a general idea that what should be my main focus or main goal. Should it be towards figuring out the strategy behind campaigns or figuring out the strategy behind the flows? Then let's go check out the flows itself. So at first we have the welcome flow. Since this is the first email of the flow, ideally it should have above 50% open rate, since this is literally the first email you get after opting in. So we should optimize the first email to get that above 50% open rates. Now, I'm just gonna put the status of the flow if it's live or missing. So if it's live, I'm just gonna put lives. And one of the important things in flows is to understand how many emails should be per flow. So ideally, you should have around 4 emails per flows minimum. It's going to depend on how the flows perform, but an easy rule of thumb can be 4 flows. Now, that is not including the site abandonment, because the site abandonment is usually the lowest performing flow among the 6 core flows. So I'm just gonna quickly write down the performance of the welcome flow. And also an important thing that we A/B test is the type of the first email. So sometimes in some flows, text-based email work more than design-based, and in some other flows, design-based work more than text-based. So what we always do is we always test the first email with a text variation if it has a design-based email already. So this gives us a better idea of what the customers resonate with more, and we can focus on that style of copy throughout our entire flow and campaign sequences. For example, this email here, you can see is a text-based email. So my team has A/B tested the first email of the flow to see which format works the most, and for this store, text-based email seems to resonate the most with the customer base. So I'm just gonna put text here. Now comes to the abandoned cart flow. So the first email of the abandoned cart flow here is performing with a 34% open rate, which is all right, but definitely can be improved. So we're gonna put that the abandoned cart flow is live, and the first email here is a text-based, which we are going to continuously test and see which type of email works the most. Open rates are 34% and click rates are 3.1%. Now, ideally, the same as all the first email of every flow, you typically want the first email of each flows to be above 50% open rate. For abandoned checkout, I'm just gonna do the same for all of them and see how each of them are performing. Okay, we are done putting in all the information. So now we have a brief overview on how the flows are performing, their open rates, and if they are present in the system or not. So this gives us a general idea on what we should work on and what should be our strategy instead of individually getting into the account and pressing each of the flows. Now in the next part, what I like to do is I like to put some suggestion or notes for the team so that they can focus on specific things first. So for example, for the welcome flow, I'm just gonna put a note like extend the email sequences. For abandoned cart, I'm gonna put A/B test the first email. Same goes for the checkout, for browse, and for site abandonment timing. Yeah, these are some of the notes I just left for our future self so that we know exactly what to work on. Now comes the campaigns. So these are some of the campaigns we've been sending for the month of January, and you can see we have a consistent 50% plus open rate. So I'm just gonna put your store average. I'm just gonna put 50%. Sending to engaged list. Yes, we are sending to engaged list. That is why we have such open rates, and the revenue is also pretty consistent and good. If your open rates are inconsistent and you see there is fluctuation in your placed order from the campaigns you are sending, that means that you are not sending to the proper list. Also, you do not blast emails to your entire list, you segment them, so depending on where they are in their customer journey, they get a specific type of email. This is why the conversion rate is much more higher than other people sending campaigns, because we really put our time and effort into understanding which segment to send the campaigns to. So here, this should be 3 to 4 campaigns a week. That is the typical frequency that we send. And from testing campaign frequency throughout 50 plus brands that we've been working on, 3 to 4 campaigns a week is the best frequency to have a balance between open rates, engagement, and placed order rates. Now let's check out the sign up form. So this is the sign up form performance, and as you can see, the submit rate is around 13.48, which is pretty good. Industry average of pop-up form is around 4 to 6%. I've seen a lot of brands that have around 4 to 6% pop-up submit rate, and we took their submit rate from around 6% to just doubling it. So one of the perks of improving your pop-up form is it directly affects your welcome flow and other email channels. So when you double the submit rate of your pop-up form, that means your welcome flow revenue just became 2x because there are twice more people coming into your funnel. So I'm just going to put 13.48% here. Form type, it is also important to understand what type of form you are testing. For some brands, macro commitment type forms works the most, and for others, direct copy, direct offer based forms works best. So this is something we A/B test and figure out what works the most with that customer audience. So in here we have a micro commitment style and offer type. It is also important to test out offer types. So we tested out direct dollar amounts of free gifts, mystery discounts, and direct telling them what percentage they are getting. And for this brand, the direct percentage offer worked the most. Now comes list quality. This is one of the most important factors, because if you have too many people in your list and you're not even engaging with them, that means you're just paying Klaviyo a huge amount of bill for just nothing, because Klaviyo charges you based on the number of profiles you have in your account. So for this account, we have around 200k profiles. From them, 76k is engaged people. I'm just going to put active profile numbers. Now let's go check out the bounce rate and other email deliverability. So currently bounce rate for this brand is pretty good, because it comes down to who you are sending the emails to and segmentation. So since we've been very careful about who we are sending our emails to, that is why bounce rate is pretty low. So I'm just going to put that there. Spam complaint rate. Now, if you're sending emails frequently and you have a very large list, spam complaint rates are pretty normal, and you are going to get a few spam complaint rates here and there from the flows and campaigns. As long as you are getting more people into your funnel, I don't think spam complaint rate here should be that much big of a deal. Here, spam complaint is 0.03%. I'm just going to put that here. And unsubscribe rate overall is 0.47%. Same logic here. If you're getting enough people into your funnel, the unsubscribe rate would not matter that much, because you're already coping up by a lot of excess than the unsubscribe rate here. So overall deliverability score, you should always aim for a higher number. Above 80 should be the most ideal situation. Currently we have around 61 as our deliverability score. Now, these are some of the stuffs that most brands and email marketers ignore. Is if the domain is verified, if there is dedicated sending domains, and there are other domain records. These directly influence your placement in inboxes. If you are missing any one of this, you are not going to land on the promotions or inbox tabs. Rather, you're going to fall on the spam tabs, and that is not good for your brand. So you should always check if you have these in your brand. You can check them by going to your settings, account, then going to domains and checking if everything is available there. For this brand, we set up everything so everything is active as it's supposed to be. And yeah, this is how you audit an e-com email funnel. If you want me to audit your email funnel and give you a proper guide on how you can strategize and add another 20 to 30k in your email funnel revenue, just book a call with the link in the description, and I'll see you there.